They say love is a beautiful thing. But what happens when a moment of honesty takes a sharp turn? This is the story of a love confession I wish I could take back. A confession that didn't just change my relationship, but shattered something I thought was unbreakable. Her name was Sophie. We'd been best friends for 3 years and she was everything to me. Kind, funny, the kind of person who lights up the room just by walking into it. But there was one thing she didn't know. I'd been in love with her almost since the day we met. I told myself I'd never tell her. Our friendship meant too much to me, and the thought of losing her over something as selfish as my feelings was unbearable. But as time went on, that feeling grew harder to ignore. Every time she told me about someone she was dating, I'd smile and pretend to be happy for her. Every time she'd cry over a breakup, I'd be there, silently wishing I could be the one to make her happy. It all came to a head one night. She called me, excited about a date she'd been on. She said he might be the one, and something inside me just broke. I couldn't keep pretending. I had to tell her how I felt. I spent hours rehearsing what to say, imagining every possible reaction she might have. I finally decided to tell her in person. I texted her, asked if she wanted to grab coffee the next day. She said yes, like always. No hesitation, no idea of what I was about to drop on her. She looked so happy, so comfortable, and I almost backed out. But then she noticed something was off, like, "What's wrong?" she asked. That's when I said it. "Sophie, there's something I need to tell you." I told her everything. How I'd felt about her for years, how I'd been too scared to say anything, how I couldn't keep it bottled up anymore. The words poured out before I could stop them. She didn't say anything at first, just sat there staring at me like I'd spoken a different language. And then she said the words I'd been dreading. "Chris, I don't feel the same way." I told her it was okay, that I didn't expect her to feel the same. But her face told me everything I needed to know. Things weren't okay. I could see it in her eyes. Things would never be the same again. She said she needed time to process, that she'd call me later. But she didn't. Days turned into weeks, and the silence between us grew louder. I tried texting, calling, even dropping by her apartment, but she didn't respond. When she finally did reach out, it wasn't to talk about us. She told me she needed space, that she couldn't be my friend anymore. She said it wasn't fair to either of us, and that maybe someday we could reconnect. But we both knew that wasn't going to happen. I lost her that day. Not just the chance to be with her, but the friendship we'd built over years. I'd thought being honest would set me free, but instead it left me with nothing. Do I regret telling her? Sometimes. But part of me knows I couldn't keep living with that secret. It was eating away at me, and even though it cost me everything, at least I know I tried. I just wish it hadn't ended the way it did. Love is complicated, and so are confessions. Sometimes honesty brings people closer. Other times it pulls them apart. If you've ever had a confession that didn't go as planned, I want to hear your story. Share it in the comments below, because we all have something to learn from each other.